Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called Riffing on Richet number 2. That's Leon Richet, and he was a Barbizon painter, contemporary of Corot, and always compared to Corot, but he's pretty awesome. He did some pretty awesome compositions. This painting is very similar to his, and big difference is the sky. I think his had a nothing sky in it, so I changed it out. But this is like the second Richet I've done. Very similar sort of composition as well. Obviously, Uncle Mike's a sucker for this sort of composition. So there you go. I did it, and I did a little mini. It's 3.5 by 5. It's small, and I don't know, I had some complaints in the channel about things being dark or the exposure changing when my hand gets up. We do the best we can. Basically, we get pretty faithful record of our painting session that's in focus and the color's accurate. So any other variances like that, it's basically a trade-off, yeah. So there's that. Also, I think it's exacerbated when I'm starting with a bit of a darker underpainting, as I am here. You know, a darker board. We talked a bit in the last one about the not the one before, about how I arrive at the board texture, but basically I'm working on some MDF here, and I've gone over it with a couple coats of transparent gesso, so it's ready for oil painting. But that MDF color is very light, very pale tan, so I've taken a little bit of acrylic paint, in this case some burnt umber and raw umber and a little bit of black, maybe a little bit of burnt sienna, and rubbed it on the surface of the with some transparent gesso, just to thin it out a little. Rub that on the surface of the board. That gave me that texture, that gave me that effect, and it's quick and easy, and it dries really quick. It's a great way to kind of prep your boards, I think. So if there are on MDF, I don't think it would look that awesome on the hardboard, but the hardboard I already like the color of. So that pale tan, I mean, I can use it for figurative things and things like that, but not really for landscapes. It's no good. Colors I'm using, let's see, I've had lots of requests for that. Well, obviously I'm leaning into the raw umber on those grays. You got a little bit of blue, it's probably phthalo. A little bit of tannish tone, that's probably come up with some yellow ochre and white. I'd love to, in my skies, play the warmer grays off the cool grays. Cool grays usually I would mix with, you know, ivory black and white, and then add in various amounts of raw umber for various amounts of warmth. If I need to, I'll just start chucking in some yellow ochre, and then balancing that out with, because the yellow ochre would tend to give it a greenish feel, so I tend to have to balance that out with a bit of a red. Usually raw burnt sienna will be the red that I go with for balancing out those sorts of tones. Obviously a lot of white is, we all use a lot of white. Here I'm probably leaning into that titanium buff, which you may or may not be aware of. I wasn't aware of it until just a few years ago. And so titanium white, when they first make it, is a very cream type color. They have to bleach it to get it that super bright white that we all know. And I've used the version that comes from Daler-Rowney Georgian, which I get in big tubes. Very economical paint, and it works really well. Also, no adulteration in that buff. I use a regular titanium too, the bleached titanium. Also, actually that I like to use the Gamblin, because that's just pure titanium white with no zinc put in it, and they love to put the zinc in the titanium. And you might go, why is that, Mike? Why is that? Well, because titanium white is very opaque and can really chalk up your color, so I think they add the zinc white just so it has a little more give. That's my theory. But the problem with zinc white is, especially say on canvas and things like that, it's very prone to cracking. Maybe less so in mixtures. There's a lot of debate about it. I will use it for this and that. I work on boards though, so I'm not going to lose too much sleep about that. But if I worked on canvas, I definitely would think about it, because you've got a lot of tension with a canvas, a stretched canvas. You got the stretcher bar stretching the canvas, and there will be changes just from humidity and temperature where that canvas is constantly flexing on those bars. So that will, I've seen all sorts of cracking issues. I mean, not in real life. Actually, I have seen in real life now that I mention it. But mostly online, you know, and in pictures. Not so much the masters. They didn't have zinc white. Zinc white came about, say, early 20th century. I think it predates titanium white, although there were versions of titanium that were in use in the 1800s. I'm no scholar of these things, but I do find pigments fascinating. The underpainting, by the way, was done with burnt umber on my burnt umber tinted base, you know. Like I said, on this one, I subbed out the sky. I don't need to make a absolutely faithful interpretation of Leon Richet's painting. I was fairly faithful in the elements that I liked. His sky, though, was just boring. I didn't like it. So popped into the sky, and what did I do there? Well, I don't mind giving you all my secrets because I'm very open. I use Photoshop. They have the sky replacement tool, or it's an option. It's a menu option actually, and it works brilliantly. And now I've been replacing skies in my reference for as long as I've been doing paintings. And the sky replacement tool from Photoshop took a process that would take me 15-20 minutes maybe of massaging various masks and making you know, dropping in things and doing this and that to just streamline the whole process down. And maybe the longest part of the process now is finding the sky that I like, which is, you know, it's important. It's important, and I don't get too hung up on things. I just like to have a bit of reference, so I take liberties with that reference anyway. But it's better to have something to look at instead of just relying strictly on your imagination. An option to that is, like, there's people like, say, Dennis Sheehan, who will just put some abstracty squiggles and things on his canvas with a paper towel or a big 4-inch brush, or I don't know how wide it is, 3-inch brush, and then he starts seeing landscapes. But he's done a lot of landscapes, as I have, but he will. The thing is, like, and I'm not, no criticism of Dennis at all. I think he's brilliant. I love his work, and I learned a lot from him back when I was a student of his academy in 2011 or 12. So no diss on Dennis, but there's a bit of a sameness that comes about when the art is derived from pure imagination, I think. Now, some could say, well, talk about sameness, Mike. I mean, we're looking at your channel. We're saying some samey. Granted, that guilty as charged. Every landscape I do looks like I did it, you know. I cannot escape that, because it's my aesthetics that are determining the hundreds of thousands of decisions that go into a work of art. Maybe it's hundreds of thousands on a bigger work. Who knows? I haven't counted how many decisions I make, but every brush stroke, every shift and modulation in color, every stroke of a stroke, you know, the composition itself, it just goes on and on and on. You better be good at making decisions if you're going to be a painter. That's what I have to say. Speaking of, though, I remember a video that Dennis had showed a painting he made from a photo, and he showed us the photo too, and it was like really stiff, and he's like, see, this is why I don't use photos, but I use photos, and you just got to know the trick. And the trick is know when to put the photo away. Make about you know, several hundred terrible paintings based on those good photos or bad photos, doesn't really matter. and then get your nose rubbed in it a lot, and then you just learn. This doesn't work, that doesn't work, the other thing doesn't work. That's one of the reasons I'm always stressing that you need to paint a lot, and something like these little 3½x5s can be a way to do that. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I want to have some minis for these markets I'm at. I'm not sure if it's going to matter much, but because they go quick, I can sell them pretty reasonably. In fact, I sell these in my store very reasonably. If you want to own an original painting, an original M. Francis, this is like 120 bucks or 125. It would be, frankly, I would probably do even better on it, except the shipping out of this this island I live on is since the COVID thing has just become astronomically expensive. Yeah, people have been asking about the book. What's going to happen on the book is nothing digitally, because I am seeking a actual publisher, and many of them, when you inquire, they say don't even ask us if you've already self-published, and that means digitally through Amazon, what have you. My little boutique small run of physical copies that I'm doing, I don't think that counts because it's going to be very limited in scope. Basically, I'm printing up 50 books. I did get a sample from the printer, which I did not care for. It was way too dark, so I'm waiting for another sample, and then I'll have 50. And I want to tell you how much they cost. It costs a lot to do a short run like that, so I won't be selling them super cheap. And then we have expensive shipping too, but all I can say there is that I won't be marking that up, and my goal is to make maybe 10-15 bucks a book or something like that, so that I can invest that in another run, hopefully a bigger run where the price will come down, but that's what will be coming, and it won't be that long, and I'll probably have a little like video where I go through the book, that kind of thing, and some links. And so those of you that have been wanting the book and asking about it it's been years, I know, but I've been working on this book for years in my mind, and it took me about 1.5 years to actually get it together. And thank God for my student Ash, who came into my life earlier this year, who had the English skills to really and also the artistic insight and ability really helped me with my editing, my grammar, and things like that, because I'm very rebellious about these sorts of things. Spelling is easy enough to fix in the modern age, but grammatical issues less so. So she really did a great job, and we owe her a debt of gratitude, anyone that enjoys this book, because without her I would have been at an impasse, and may not have been able to actually get it done. But it is done, and it will be printed. It will be available to those of you that can swing it. And at some point, I'm sure some digital sort of version will be. My goal is to try and get an actual publisher. But if that doesn't pan out, then I'll do the self-publishing through Amazon or that kind of thing, and it'll be available probably as both a physical and a Kindle and this and that. And my feeling is, and I think several people I've talked to on the channel have agreed with me on that, it's like, for art books and art instruction books, the Kindle is just, it's just okay. I mean, you can make it work, especially maybe you got an iPad or something, a big iPad. You could put it on the on your studio table and have a look at it as you're working, but it can't really touch a physical book. That's one of the last places, the last domain of the physical books will be the art books, in my view. Also, you want to, like, with a well reproduced art book, you can get your nose right up on it and really have a good look at the art, whereas with the Kindle, it's like, if you try and do anything other than the default resolution, it's just chunky. It looks like oatmeal. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Really appreciate you coming around. If you have the ability to help support this channel, I would appreciate it. Lots of options. Give me one of these tip thank you things would be great. Join the members area. It's only $6 a month, and you have access to hundreds of real-time videos. Go buy a painting, please. That would be awesome. Sales have been tough since the pandemic, no lie, and I'm not the only one. But I'm your favorite one. So go buy one of these little minis I've got there. I'll make it worth your while. I'll throw some goodies in the bag, the box, whatever. Anyway, or just please leave me a comment. I really like and appreciate that. And whatever you can do, I appreciate. I appreciate just coming here and getting to the end. That's helpful too. Thank you so much for that. And until I come back with another video, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble, and God bless you and your family.